We have such a frightening scene in the gospel today. One demoniac is enough. When you have two of them, that's even more frightening. And you have these. Imagine living in this area, and knowing, over there, don't go over that way. You got the two demoniacs. They'll rip you to pieces. It's hard to even imagine that. And those demons, they understood who Jesus was, and obviously he cast them away. But I think the first point of reflection is acknowledging our own demons. Because in some way, I think all of us face demons, demoniacs. And I'm not talking directly the devil. I would pray to God that nobody is really suffering from that. That does happen, but doesn't happen all the time, nor the majority of time. Sometimes people put too much faith in the devil and they think that he's like the cause of every single bad thing that happens in your life, and that's not true. We have a broken human nature. We have a broken world. We have selfishness of mankind around us. Majority of the time, that's the evil we face. It's not directly the hand of Satan. But we all have demons. It can be spiritual. Like the first reading we had today, you have Sarah. She has a big demon, doesn't she? She has white-hot resentment against Hagar. And she couldn't stand that Abraham was playing around with her son. Now, mind you, Sarah made Abraham have relations with Hagar so that he could have a son. And so then later she gets, she conceives by a miracle of God. But she hates her now. She hates her son. Resentment is just boiling within her. That's a demon. Totally. And then Abraham, his demon is he's totally besides himself, depressed, distressed about his wife and how to handle her. And he's afraid. Fear is his demon. And we all have different things, different demons that can be within. Sometimes it's also maybe not sin. Sometimes it might be interior things within us. I remember St. Teresa of Avila. She used to call she wrote the interior castle. And she would talk about, in her prayer life, the imagination. And the imagination many times will just totally distract you in your prayer life. And she called the imagination inside the interior castle like the madman of the castle, constantly disturbing what you're trying to do, constantly disturbing trying to pray, constantly distracting you from, communing with the Lord. You might have that demon in your life. Now, mind you, I'm using this as an analogy. I'm not saying it's a demon, okay? Don't go too far. It's applying it to our lives. And sometimes we have other demons we face, crosses that we bear in our lives. And we all can feel, just like these two guys that were demoniacs, I can't fix it. I'm stuck. And that's a good thing if you feel that way. Because then finally Christ will be your Savior. That's feeling that burning need for Him, that He is the only solution. That's when Christ really becomes your Redeemer. Now the great thing, though, is God has the power to kick out these demons. And we need to trust in that. Call out upon Him. And Christ will heal, but he heals in so many mysterious ways. Sometimes ways that we understand, and many times in ways that we just don't really get. Why did he listen to the pleading of the demons and put them into the swine and then have them drown themselves? It's so mysterious. Now, some theologians speculate that he was showing proof that he had power over the kingdom of the enemy. Not only could he cast out demons, he could make them obey him in any way he wanted. For Jews, as you know, the pigs were considered unclean animals. And the ocean that they ran themselves into, the ocean for the Jews symbolized death. It was like the kingdom of Satan. We think of water being life. With that all changed in the New Testament with baptism and things. But even then, with baptism, it was like going into death and then coming out of it. It's new life, just like the passing through the Red Sea. So for the Jews at the time, this would have been a powerful credential for him being the Messiah. I am greater than the enemy, and I control them. So maybe that was the sign he was trying to do with this. But sometimes when God does his healing, we can misunderstand. We don't understand how he's working. Back to the first reading with Hagar. What's happening to Hagar is horrible. And then God says, just follow what Sarah says. What? Why would God say that? Why would he allow her to go almost on the brink of death, putting her baby, arrows shot away because she didn't want to see him die, and listen to the baby's cries, and then at the last second come in and save her? Why did he do that? Sometimes we don't know. I don't know. Maybe he was wanting her to really depend on Yahweh. I don't know. Did he fix the situation and heal her? Yes. But in a very uncomfortable way. And same way in the gospel. You would think that the people in town would be rejoicing that, hey, the demoniacs are gone. You think they'd be saying, hey, Jesus, please stick around. We've got a lot of other problems. But no, they totally misread it, didn't they? They became fearful of him. And then the demons they probably face also was probably, money. They lost all their swine, their business. As if, if he's powerful enough to cast out evil, he's powerful enough to lead you to goodness too. People misunderstand how God works. And if we're honest, haven't we misunderstood that many, 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 many times in our own lives? It's hard to trust, to surrender. Sometimes God works through painful experiences, crosses. Nobody likes that. But I can guarantee you, when we get up into heaven, the only reason God allowed any pain in our life was because he had a plan of goodness that we couldn't fully comprehend at the moment. I firmly believe that. He works through all the tragedies, all the mistakes we make, even our own sin. He only allows it because he's working something bigger. But how does that work, Father? I don't know. I'm not God. You catch glimpses sometimes. But that's where you got to trust. You got to trust his goodness more than your understanding. And that's not being stupid. That's actually being really smart. Because that's saying, God is way bigger than me. I don't understand his wisdom. But he's given me every reason to trust him. And if he chooses to heal in some mysterious way that I can't comprehend, or that I don't like because it involves suffering, I choose to still trust him. So in this Mass, my friends, reflect on what are the demons in your life. Not to get scared, but to name it and bring it to Christ because you know you're stuck. And then trust in whatever way God decides to act. Surrender to that. Because if you find peace there, that is where you're strong. And that's how you become the saint you're called to be.